Hello, this is Teresa. I'm back with another tutorial for Dare to Be Artsy. Today I'll be featuring 3 different Christmas tags that didn't take a whole lot of time to make, and I'll show you some tips and tricks along the way to make this streamlined and easy for you to replicate. So I'm going to be starting with a few different items from Dare to Be Artsy, and this is a test tag that I created. I'm using this die that's a perfect shape for a tag, and I will include links below to the products used. I'm going to use that stamp from the Totally Tracy set and a few of the small stamps that I'm pointing to on the Cuckoo Clock set. And so now I will begin. What I did is at first I decided to try stamping directly onto some scrap pieces of white cardstock. So this is a great way to use up your scraps for this type of thing to create tags. I started with white paper, and then I also tried using some green paper and stamping down the Christmas trees in a darker green color. And then I also used a piece of craft cardstock and stamped some of the little deer on top of that. And in some cases I liked one approach better than the other, so you'll see that I end up using a variety of these stamps in different ways. And here are the little toy soldiers. I stamped some of them that I did not color in and some that I did. And later on you'll see that I end up doing something a little bit different with some of those toy soldiers. So now I have a couple of the pattern papers from Dare to Be Artsy, the Midnight Blue, and Holly and Plaid. And so I'm going to show you some shortcuts on how I put these tags together just to make it go a little bit faster. One of the things that I will be doing is using vellum on top of the pattern paper. And I'm showing you the stamp set the stamp that I'm using out of that set to create a background or a layer on vellum. On the left hand side, I've already stamped in Versamark and used clear embossing powder. So it definitely has a texture, and when you turn it in the light, you can see more of the sheen. And on the right hand side, I used white embossing powder in order to provide a little more contrast against a pattern paper background. And I will use the white pattern background on top of that plaid paper, and I will use the clear embossing one on the blue pattern piece of paper. Now right now it looks like you won't really be able to see much of the detail from the blue background, but as you will see in a bit, you actually will be able to see more of that detail. First, I'm going to split these 2 pieces of vellum, and originally this was an 8.5 by 11 piece, but I had used some of it and decided to use the leftovers from that. This Create a Sticker machine is great for adding adhesive all over the back of something, so you just have to insert the end in and start cranking it through. When you get towards the end of the first piece, you use less of the tape if you follow it along with the next piece and make sure there's a little bit of a gap. Unfortunately, I will have gotten those a tad too close together, and not too bad, so it worked out to be okay in this case, but just something to watch out for. Also had a little bit of a wrinkle as the second piece is coming out, and this should not impact gluing it down to the paper. And there we go. Now I'm going to apply this vellum piece onto the plaid cardstock. So I start by peeling back the vellum and fold down the backing paper. And then I'll line it up at the bottom where I want to start placing that vellum on. So I line it up so that it's not going over the edge on the bottom or on the side. And then I just pull the release paper and press down as I pull that across. And therefore I will be ready to do die cuts out of where I have the vellum overlay. And now that I've applied all the vellum to my background pieces, I've adhered them down and die cut them. And as you can see on the blue ones that I've done, you can see the texture of the snowflakes as well as the pattern from the background. As you can see here, I did go ahead and use some gold and silver embossing onto red and blue cardstock, just as an option. And right here, I used a Spectrum Noir Sparkle pen. It's emerald, I believe is the color. And that way I could both color in the trees and it adds a bit of sparkle without an extra step of having to add that after the fact. I do color in the trunk of the tree with a brown marker in order to finish up the coloring. And once that's dry, I will then die cut all the little Christmas trees out to put on the first tag with the reindeer. So now that I have them all die cut out, I'm going to show you how I create the snowy bank on the bottom. I'm using a paper towel, so I'll have somewhat of a jagged edge and therefore it won't be like perfectly straight. And that's the effect I'm wanting. So I'm using a scrap piece of paper that has been used quite a bit recently, as you can see, and I'm going to place it as you see me doing here so that I can add Versamark ink onto the bottom edge of each tag. And then I'll add white embossing powder on top of each of those tags and heat set them, and then that will give me a snowy bank for the background. And after I die cut all of the colored pieces, I'm going to attach them with some liquid glue to my background on each tag. Something you won't see me do on screen is I use some stickles, and there I am wiping it up. I thought I was filming where I used my finger to apply stickles randomly to the background, but here you'll see hopefully a little bit of the sparkle I created whenever I took that step. It is a little bit hard to catch on camera. So moving along, the next tag I worked on were my blue tags, and as you can see I've taken a piece of red glittery iridescent kind of washi tape and I just spread it across all three tags at the same time, and I'm leaving them in place and as I glue on my die cut blue and silver embossed toy soldiers. The first tag up there on the right is the one I started with, and I decided it wasn't enough contrast, so I decided to take a different approach to finishing these. I ended up liking that red contrast quite a bit more than just the blue with the contrast of the iridescent silvery tape. And now I'm cutting apart the tags where the washi tape is, and I'm going to trim off on both edges so that it is flush against the edge. And as you can see, I did pull out another red and white pattern paper. I did not add vellum to it, and I used some of the toy soldiers and some gold washi tape to decorate it. So here's another look at each of the three Christmas tags. I sure appreciate you stopping by today to check this out. I hope you'll leave me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Until then, I dare you to be artsy.